When I was 8 years old, I lived in a self-built house in Zihu District, Nanshan, Jiangxi Province, and I had a really horrible childhood. Since the first night I moved in, various bizarre events have happened, one after another. Strange footsteps, harsh bone scraping, and the terrifying woman who jumps in strange poses at home late at night. At the age of 8, A moved to Jiangxi with his parents. Self-built house in Jiu District, Nanshan. That house built by A's aunt. She let A's family live there. The house faces west, and the sun is blocked by other buildings. Only a little light in the evening makes her feel physically resistant and insecure. I expressed discomfort to his parents, but they think it's just that the child doesn't adapt to the new environment. Eventually moved in. After moving in, A found that the layout of the house was very strange. Rectangle like a well-behaved coffin. The house has 2 master bedrooms, a kitchen, and a toilet. There is an outer corridor outside, and then the gate. The furniture is complete, but there is a strong musty smell in the air. A's aunt renovated the house, and it's clean and tidy, but the outside is dirty and messy. It was already late at night on the first day of moving in. Everyone quickly went to sleep. A sleeps in bedroom 1, parents in bedroom 2. In the middle of the night, A heard the sound of bare feet walking, coming from the bathroom. The voice came to the door of his bedroom, then came to the bed and stopped. I didn't care at the time, thinking it was his parents who came to see her. The next morning, I asked her mother if she had been here. Mom said no. Maybe Dad got up at night? Until they moved away. When I asked Dad, he said he didn't get up to go to the toilet that night. That afternoon, the mother delivered A to her grandmother's house, then go to the night shift with Dad. At 9 p.m., Grandma sent A home. Watch her fall asleep and lock the door before leaving. But after falling asleep, I heard a sound from the roof again, like gnawing on a bone, like rubbing a bone. The voice made a click sound on the roof, and she shouted upwards, "What's up there? Get out!" The voice stopped immediately. I covered her head and fell asleep in fear. The next morning, I told her mother what happened last night, and her mother said it was a wildcat. After school, I told Dad again. In order to reassure A, Dad climbed up to the roof to check, but found nothing. Also said to be a wildcat. Mom saw that A was still worried, so she said that she would let her grandmother accompany him at night. In the evening, A didn't let her grandmother come to keep her company. She watched TV for a while and then prepared to go to bed. Just as she turned off the TV, she suddenly saw there's a figure sitting on the eaves outside the window. The street lamp casts its shadow on the opposite wall. It was a woman with bare feet hanging by the window, exceptionally pale like the feet of a dead man who has lost his blood color. Feet and shadows shake gently, as if singing. I was so scared that he wanted to scream, but didn't dare to make a sound, covering his mouth and crying. Then the door opened and Grandma walked in. It turned out that my mother was worried and asked my grandmother to accompany A. Grandma saw A crying and quickly hugged him. I said what happened just now, and Grandma went to the outer corridor to take a look. Then I closed the curtains in panic, hugging little A to sleep, coaxing him to say that he read it wrong. But I clearly saw the panic in her grandmother's eyes. Grandma said that after she opened the door, the figure disappeared. It cries and falls asleep in Grandma's arms. Grandma told her parents about it, and they checked the window in the outer hallway, found a string of blood-red footprints there, extending all the way to the roof. Mom took A to see an old woman who knows how to ward off evil spirits. The woman let A sleep at her house. She sprinkled something like rice next to A's bed. The next day, woman said that the matter was basically settled. and gave a Guanyin Bodhisattva pendant. Tell her don't take it off after wearing it these days. After returning home, Ai's parents went to work in the afternoon and said they would be back at 3 in the morning. Grandma didn't come for something, so A was alone at home watching Diga Ultraman and fell asleep while watching. In the middle of the night, A woke up and found that the disc had been emptied. The time was 1:14 a.m. She tried to change the disc, but caught a glimpse of the kitchen and toilet junction. Goosebumps all over her body in an instant. Someone jumps out there. She was so pale that she jumped from the toilet into the kitchen and moved towards I saw her face clearly. She tilted her head with a strange smile. It seems to be jumping, but it is actually an extremely strange way of walking. I was stunned until she jumped halfway through the bedroom. I just reacted and rushed to the door leading to the gate. But the door was locked and little A was crying for help. Looking back, the woman poked her head out from behind the door in a very unnatural posture. Fortunately, at that moment her neighbor turned on the light and asked what had happened. The thrilling woman disappeared. I told the neighbor that there was a ghost. Although the neighbor was puzzled, he still opened the door while calling A's mother. The parents rushed back soon, and the mother hugged the father into the house to check. As soon as the light was turned on, Dad's face changed. Mom carried A into the room, and little A cried until she fainted. 3 days later, I woke up. Mom said she had a high fever for 2 days and 2 nights after that night. I found that the Guanyin pendant around his neck had turned black and cracked. A's family never returned to the house after that day. A few years later, they moved out of the city and went to live in Xi'an. It wasn't until a few days ago that Mom mentioned what happened back then. 22-year-old A then realized that the walls and ceiling of the room were covered with bloody footprints that night. And on the wall of the bedroom where she slept, there is also a blood-colored face pattern.